it's unfair that you have footballers, star players being treated this way.
Hello, good evening. This is Taiwo Najobi, your host once again on Lanonasis Maple Sports. You know, we like to always bring unfiltered opinion, sharp analysis, and some big love for Canadian hoops and eyes. We're always excited to, gather as four of us, wonderful people, try to talk a little bit about the Premier League, see what is going on within the football world. We do a lot of NBA, CEBL, and we cover some, small space for smart hockey talk. Today's run by Taiwo and a couple of my good friends, Emmanuel, Joshua, and Crespo. We want to break things down, make it, something that is worth our time. So today's a good day. Take a chance, want more, and make a difference. Crespo, Joshua, Emmanuel, just say hello, and we can just take it from there. Just a quick one. Yeah.
Hey guys,
Hello
good to be
everyone.
back.
Yeah.
Let's talk. Let's
So,
talk.
Everyone, happy to be here.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it. Well, it's always good to see your faces, man. No matter what, we're still positive. We're still winning the league this season.
This is
Yeah.
okay.
So
That's a
whether
good
they
one.
like it or not, we'll still win. Whether Crespo or Joshua like it or not, we'll still win the league.
Yeah, so that's interesting. I think I will just run through some of the wonderful performances we had from the FA Cup fourth round. We expected all the big teams rather, to, come up clutch and give us very good results. Chelsea went on a 4-0 demolition of Hull City. And they were doing about 68% on average possession, 49 regains. At least they had more than 7 switches on play just in the first half alone. It showed that they dominated the team. And I'm going to give Joshua the opportunity to go on the front line as well. But looking at the FA Cup demolitions as well, we also look at what Man City did to Salford. Salford is also a small team in Manchester as well. And, they were able to do about 70% of ball movements and, dominated across board. It shows that the FA Cup, there will always be some kind of dominance coming from Premier League teams. Aston Villa was the only team that struggled, and that was because their matchup was with Newcastle. And that was a 3-1 demolition from Newcastle. So Aston Villa was not able to make it count, at least amongst the teams that are considered elite and top 4. Liverpool made a very easy one of Brighton, made it 3-0. That's basically a wrap for the FA Cup. I'll just allow Joshua give us a bounce on what you think about all these teams that we talked about. Then we can move to Crespo and Emmanuel.
Yeah, thank you very much, and thank you for having me again on the show. Yeah, pretty much it was an FA Cup weekend, and the games were kind of like how we all expected them to go. Chelsea's game was good. It was easy. It was Liam Rosenior's first FA Cup game for Chelsea, and also coincidentally returning to the club where he played as a player and also managed as a coach, Hull City. So it was a good game. I'll say the first 30 minutes was a bit cagey. Chelsea found it difficult to break them down, but as soon as they got the first goal before halftime, and second half was just almost seeing the game out and coasting to victory. And it was quite interesting. Pedro Neto playing as a 10, he did well. He got the hat-trick, and but it was interesting to see him play as 10. Esteval left, Esteval right, Garnacho on the left. So really good for Liam Delap. Though I would have wished if he got a goal, but he was able to get hat-trick of assists. And but then it was a good game. A win that everyone expected to happen. Chelsea beating Hull City. So the most interesting for the weekend actually was Aston Villa and Newcastle, and not just also for footballing reasons, but for the controversies that hampered the game and the results. As we know, there are different controversial calls, referee calls that happened in that game, and again, it's brought up the question of, has VAR done more harm than good to referees? Because as you know, there's no VAR in FA Cup until the semi-final. So again, what does that say for the referees? Are referees now too reliant on VAR? Because you know that if we were to make a mistake, if that was the Premier League game, the VAR would have corrected them. But because there was no VAR in this game, the mistake happened, and it's kind of controversy around the result because there were the penalties, there were wrong calls, and it just brought a show of how um maybe that might be a discussion for another time. Maybe some referees who are on VAR duty, they only stay on VAR. They don't go to on field. Or does that even bring a condition of having VAR from the first round of FA Cup? Right. So again, different conversations, but that was a real tough talking point from that game. And then for the other ones, Liverpool also, it was a very good game for them. They saw out Brighton quite easily. Some of the goals were actually beautiful in terms of play passing. And then for Man City also, good win. But all in all, I think it was a good game, good weekend round of FA Cup matches, and not any upsets, at least not yet. And we'll see what the next round poses. I think the next round the fixtures are out, which we're gonna see some interesting games like Manchester United will face Newcastle again. So that's
Manchester
something that's gonna
United,
be
are you sure
interesting.
Manchester United is still
Sorry,
in
Manchester City. Oh, sorry. I'm talking about, thank you very much. Talking about
because
clubs that
I
are actually still big. Manchester City will play Newcastle again. Just
Manchester
the repeat.
United, we know the number of games we are playing between now and the end of
now
the
there
season.
is
We already know the
Exactly.
number of games.
The repeat of the Carabao Cup semi-final, and also Chelsea will be playing Wrexham. You all know Wrexham. I think the Championship or League One. I think they're in Championship now.
they're in
They are the
Championship
Hollywood
now.
team.
Wrexham is the Hollywood guys that won
The
that.
Hollywood guys.
Yeah, the
So we
Hollywood
call them
guys,
the
yeah.
They
Hollywood
just
team.
pumped in a lot of money recently.
So it would be nice.
Yeah.
It would be, and I think they're playing. I think we're playing at Wrexham's home. So again, that's more visibility for them, more gates, cash receipts for the game. But yeah, was a good round of FA Cup games.
Yeah, that's a good one. And before Crespo goes, there's been a lot of controversy around VAR, and they're also trying to see how they can extend some of the aspects that VAR doesn't presently cover. We're looking at introducing a lot more into what VAR can see, because I know today there are some decisions that they take without even going to VAR based on the policy. But right now they want to extend it a bit more. But if you look at a country like Spain, it has caused more trouble than what it has done in England. In fact, in Spain, they are trying to vote on how they can cancel it. But generally, if you look at it based on percentage, it has caused more good than harm generally, if you look at it. So for me, I would say it should stay. Crespo, give us your 2 cents.
Yeah, just like you guys have mentioned, the FA Cups usually we expect the surprises on the field by the teams, but unfortunately, the surprise we saw this weekend was from the referees. So again, it makes football interesting. The introduction of technology, so far so good. How has that improved officiating? How has that improved the game? It's left for all of us to always decide at each time this technology fails us. So again, I'll say like the goal line technology has been a success. We haven't seen anybody complain about that. I believe VAR, the issue with VAR is because it still has that level of interpretation by a human being. And once you keep giving human beings that opportunity, then we should be ready to accept that discretion, is dependent on whoever is blowing the whistle at that point. And again, I would say not so good for the English FA if at this point, I know use of VR can be expensive, but at this point in the FA games, we shouldn't be having issues or an excuse of saying, oh, you're not using the VR until the semifinals. I don't think that's going to help in any way because again, if I have a technology that I can rely on, why shouldn't I rely on it? And now, if a referee knows if he makes a mistake or he blows something and he has the opportunity to correct with the VAR, he has done that for like 10, 30 games until the until the FA Cup game, and you expect him to just behave as if he has never used VAR. I think it's unfair on the refs also. If we're going to use the VAR, let's use it. If we're not using it, let's not use it because you can't expect them to use it every other day. And one Saturday, you expect them to get it right without VAR. So these are the things we would expect. Once human beings are involved, they are prone to more errors. So again, it's something we would leave for discussions, UEFA, FIFA is to see how best we can, use the technology to improve the games. And like you rightly said, they might need to extend what VR looks at, outside what is currently looking at, which are penalties, red cards, and what happens in the box. But again,
Yeah, offside. I think it covers. Does VAR
offsides,
cover?
it does. Offsides,
yeah, offside
penalties,
goals, yeah.
red
Yeah.
cards, and what happens in the box. So again, if you
Okay.
extend it outside, then I think at some point we might see the end of refereeing. Let's just have some technology watching the game Allow
Watching.
just the footballers play once the technology figures something out. Again, that comes to we losing the human aspect of the game. Again, like you said, there are pros, there are cons of technology, and I guess that's what we would have to face. Let's see where this takes us in the future. But again,
Yeah.
let's expect technology to do its part, and as much as possible, don't put the referees in a situation where every other day they are using technology and the next day you just yank technology off them and you expect them to be at their best. So that will be my 2 cents. Yeah.
Yeah. Crespo, I have one question for you, but I forgot
Okay.
to also mention that Arsenal also, demolished Wigan with 73% of possession, had about 17 shots. There were even times in the match where Wigan probably didn't touch the ball for a few minutes. So we're going to allow Emmanuel touch on that when we
Yeah,
get
yeah,
to
sure.
him.
Was that not 4-0 in the first half?
4-0 against Wigan, and that was complete demolition. If you talk.
That's how we roll, man. That's how we do.
Exactly. I know. That's the only match you guys have won in the last 8 to 9 days.
Don't worry,
Exactly.
it happens. It happens.
I
It's just a
know.
blip on the road. We'll get back on form.
Yeah. So Crespo, before we go back to Emmanuel, and if Joshua can also put in some 2 cents on it, Manchester United is looking for a coach, even with the performance of Carrick now. In fact, what they said was they didn't want to make that mistake they made with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, where he had a couple of good performances and they decided to make him permanent. And at the end of the day, they went in a different direction. So what do you think about the fact that, what do you even think is going through Carrick's mind? It's like they're not even having any plan to make him the permanent coach.
So it would be interesting to know that Carrick is not interested in the permanent role for the job. I would be surprised if he says he's not interested. So again, the Man U's problem, in my opinion, is beyond just a coach. We've had a number of seasons where we've had the wrong kinds of players coming to the club. We have had a number of buy-ins into the club that did not really work as planned. So for me, if you keep Carrick, fine. If you don't keep Carrick, you bring in a new coach. Are we going to bring in a new coach that wants to do something new? And the players on ground, pretty much the players Amorim brought in now, are they the kind of players that coach you want to work with? So for me, I would implore the management of United to think in the long run. But at the same time, if you have somebody you want to work with, let Carrick continue to the end of the season. Let's see what he can do. And if by any chance you can provide the kind of players that Carrick can work with to get us maximum results, because at the end of the day, if you have the best coach and you have players who can't play, there's almost no magic he can do. But if you have the kind of players that Carrick can work on, maybe not be the best of coaches to deal with those kind of players, but have those players already, then in the long term, if he doesn't do well, you bring in a coach that can work with those kind of players. So that we don't go, we're not recycling the same thing we've done before. Okay, now you take Carrick out by the end of the season and you bring in a coach that wants to play 2-5-2 or 2-5-4, or a coach that wants to play one defender and 10 attackers. So where do you get those attackers from? So my point is this: if you are going to get in a coach that has a different philosophy, don't be in a rush to bring in that coach now. Get the kind of players that philosophy fits,
Work with.
then the coach can come in. Because if the coach comes in now, it's not going to work with what's on ground. We've got a lot of guys we need to get out. If a new coach comes in and he doesn't need someone like a Zexi, so what does he do? He won't succeed. Then you're thinking of sacking him again. So if they can give Soja, if they can give Carrick a year extension, and in that period, the board, the sports management, they're looking at the kind of players they want Manchester United to have in the future. Then they can bring in a coach that can work with those kind of players. At that point, then we can be thinking futuristic. But for now, he hasn't done badly. But again, I believe strongly in the quality of players at any coach's hand. Carrick is not. I'm not saying he will do badly, but if he doesn't have the material, I'm sorry, there is no magic he's going to do. There is no magic. Like now, we know the midfield is a mess. No matter what anybody's going to tell me, you need to get at least 2 solid midfielders into that team that can come from the bench, that can contribute, and that can start, and possibly get maybe some other defender in case we have the injury. We have a lot of guys that any moment from now they can be injured and we're back to square one. So again, for me, I think Man U they should not be in a rush to get a new coach. Then the coach says, "Oh, I can't work with these players." Then what do you do? So again, Man U's case is it needs spiritual intervention at the end of the day. So
Yeah.
let's see how it goes at the end of the season.
Okay. Yeah, Emmanuel, before you actually break down some of the, trashing that has happened over the FA Cup, we expected Arsenal was going to, perform at a very high level against Wigan. Can you just talk about, because a lot of people are also questioning the mental capabilities of Arsenal to be able to carry on, and make sure they don't bag this one again. You understand? Because, Arteta had to even come out and, try to silence people that they don't have any mental stress going on and they are still on track to be able to, get the job done between now and the end of the season. But what do you think generally in line with some of their performances so far?
Well, I mean, Arsenal has been. I mean, I think so far. Let me start from where they are at in all the competitions. Right, in all four competitions, they're still doing very well, topping the Premier League table. It's just five points right now from us, from 6-7 points. They are now 5 points with having played a game extra than every other club in the league, which is not a bad position to be in. If you give me the position by, say, when we sometime in August, I'll say that I'll be happy to take it. That's the truth. Yeah, but even where we're at December or January before I got here, it feels a bit it feels like a pain in your tummy. You know that kind of feeling you get when you're losing points, right? Because in the last 6-7 games have not been very, apart from Leeds and Sunderland, you haven't been very great in most of the games to play. Liverpool was shocking. Well, not I won't say shocking. Liverpool is the current champion, so they're a good team, right? Nottingham Forest was poor. Brentford, we tried. Brentford is a good side as well, but against Wolves, man, that was really shocking. Quite frankly, that was shocking. I mean, you can say, and if I go down to Champions League, we top the champion when the FA Cup in the Carabao Cup final, right? Now going back to the league, right? I would say we don't have experience of having a lot of winners in the team, right? Now Arteta being a coach who hasn't won it before as a coach, he hasn't won anything as a coach, right? Apart from the FA Cup he won years ago and maybe some community shields here and there. So we've not had anyone who's done it before in the team, apart from maybe Gyökeres, probably who won in Portugal, maybe Gabriel Jesus, who won with Man City. No other person in that team has won anything notable.
No,
right?
you got Kai Havertz. Kai Havertz has won.
Kai Havertz, sorry, Champions League, yeah, sorry. So no other person, apart from these three players, no other person has won anything that is that is of a good name. So I think there's still a lot of pressure on them, and I can understand because it's not easy, right? Are they coming under the pressure when maybe time will tell? Is it just a blip in form? I want to be as a Arsenal fan. I hope it's a blip in form that will just pick up in the future. I don't want to see them crumble again because that would be too shocking. That would be 2 times in the row of crumbled and lost it to the same Man City. Because the way they are chasing us right now, probably if we lose it, probably going to be Man City again, and that will not look good at all, right?
Yeah.
So it's something that time will tell. I mean, it's I want to see them really fight, really stand up to it. Go back to those days when we used to blow teams away. It mustn't be 5-0, maybe 2-0, 3-0. You get the game done first half and see it through. What happened against Wolves was shocking. To lose 2-0, Arsenal has not done that in a long time. Leading by 2 goals and throwing it away to a team like Wolves. That was shocking. So I want to believe that Arsenal will bounce back. As an Arsenal fan, I want to believe that. But as an analyst, from what I see, I would say I'm a bit worried. I'm sincerely worried about what I see, right? Because I mean, if we have players who have won it before, a lot of them who won it before, probably will say it differently. But even that, we don't have a lot of people who've done it before. It's that's where I get the worry from. But I think the players have to beat themselves up right now, at this point in time, and tell themselves, I mean, we just have to win our game. Now, win all the games we have that mentality, see things through. When you're 1 goal up, 2 goal up, hold on and just see it through. Some months ago, that's nice to be the team that will score you 1 goal, and that's it. The game is done. You couldn't score Arsenal any goal at all. But right now, even if you score 2 or 3, we're conceding too many goals, and the defense is now quite conceding a lot of goals recently, right? And conceding against Wolves, the way those 2 goals came, the first goal was a clear, very beautiful, but the second one was one you look at and say, okay, who made the mistake? Is it Raya or Gabriel? Maybe you could blame and say Raya because he had no business going for that ball. Gabriel already had it. So for some reason, and that's the same thing that happened against Sunderland, right? When we were winning 2-1. And if you've seen him as well, Raya and Gabriel, Gabriel already had the ball. Raya went and then the guy just passed it then and it was a goal. So the same sort of incident again coming in again. So I think they just need to hold themselves and just be strong. Just know that we have this thing, right? You're ready to, let's Man City wins tomorrow against Newcastle. We're still 2 points clear. And that's a lot as well. I mean, it's not easy to drop, right? So it's, they just need to hold their heads high and keep doing what they're doing before. Just be focused on winning. Don't focus on losing. Focus on just winning the game. Don't focus on not wanting to lose, but focus on wanting to win and just keep going. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy because I know the Arsenal may still drop points before the season ends. Man City will drop points before the season ends, but now depends on who dropped the most number of points, right? I just hope it's not Arsenal.
Exactly. Okay, that's a good one. Joshua, before we go into the Champions League, I just wanted to get some of your views generally on. I was just checking some of the World Cup amounts for tickets. A lot of unsold tickets. Some are going for as high as 3,000.
Wow.
I'm talking about US dollars.
For one game?
Yeah.
Just a semi-final game.
What?
But is that for the
Somebody-
regular?
Even the regular games are not cheap.
The regular game, 686.
So
different
tell we
amount.
sponsor us now. Let's go now. Just buy ticket or boys. Buy ticket or boys. We'll just fly down.
$686. They're not doing any magic there.
But
This is
I
really,
thought
really serious.
they created a middle level ticket to bridge that gap where it's a bit, but just few numbers. I don't know how much that is. I don't know if that is.
No, all those ones have completely sold out. The
That's-
unsold
yeah.
tickets now are the expensive ones. Those ones that are cheap are completely sold out. So it's becoming a big headache for people that really want to participate and watch the World Cup. I think we can also just dive into some of the Champions League drama that happened. Like we all know, we had some of the playoff matches go on, and there was a lot of drama. I will allow Crespo just go on the Karabakh Newcastle. Newcastle scored 6 goals against Karabakh. I was so surprised. They had about 22 shots compared to Karabakh's 8. Gordon was firing on all cylinders. He had about 4 goals.
Yeah.
You understand? You know, before half time, he was, as in he was already ready for fire,
Yeah.
Karabakh did not even have any chance, Newcastle was pressing and they forced a lot of turnovers. What do you think, Crespo, generally about what Newcastle is showing us at this stage? Because that's the only English team in the playoffs.
Yeah, pretty much this is just a sign of separating the boys from the men at this level. So
At this
Karabakh,
level, yeah.
kudos to them. They punched a little bit above their weight and they got a soccer point today during that game. Yeah, so pretty much Newcastle just bullying them all through. I saw the game and it felt like Newcastle were in training. The strength they used, I was just wondering, there are a lot of loose balls from the defenders. It was just a big brother and a little brother game, and Newcastle took them to the cleaners, So pretty much the separating boys from the men, and the match just went straight to Newcastle.
Yeah. Joshua, what do you think about Bodo Glimt surprising Inter? Bodo Glimt produced 2 times better when it comes to Inter's chance creation.
Okay.
Bodo Glimt had 6 shots on goal that were on target, from 8 attempts. Inter had about 57% of possession. But for me, I just saw, I didn't see a potent penetration as far as I'm concerned. Bodo Glimt was fighting like they needed more. They needed it a bit more than Inter. What do you think generally?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where they've slightly been going under the radar, but I think now a lot of people are finding more about them. And I've gotten them from like last season. I think they beat Tottenham last season in the Europa League, or maybe Tottenham beat them. I really can't remember, but it's just shown how their steady rise have come. Not to forget that even in the same Champions League, they beat Man City. They beat Man City.
And Atletico also.
And they beat Atletico. So they are a very good side, well coached side, and they have like some crazy talents
At
like
home.
Boys that I think that will not be there for long. There's this guy Hage or something like that.
He scored. I think he scored.
He scored. Yeah, I remember using him in Football Manager back then, but it's just, I mean, I was seeing the scores and I could not believe it. It might be one of the history
Surprises,
of all time. Like if these guys were to make it past the playoffs, and if Bodo Glimt gets to a knockout game for Champions League, like, do you know what that means? I mean, this is a team that, even not for the expansion of Champions League, like they will never be in Champions League when we still had the 32 teams and normal group stage games before them. But I think this is part of what UEFA have done to like give a lot of people, give them chances, right?
Yeah.
And you can see upsets, and I kind of like even like the group stage format of this new Champions League. I kind of like it in a way.
I like it too,
because it's giving us a chance to see more drama, to see more big teams play each other in just technically a meaningless game or like
Yeah.
a group stage. Whereas before you wouldn't see like a Real Madrid play
Yeah.
Bayern except in a semi-final or
Or
quarter-final of
quarterfinal.
Champions League
Yeah.
because they will hardly never be in the same group. So it's giving them that exposure, make more money, of course, but like also have more big matches to showcase to the
Yeah.
fans and almost feel like a Super League light. But again, that's a topic for another day. But it's just been good. I'm really happy for them, and it's left to see if they can keep it up in the second leg. Because again, you feel like Inter Milan is going to pose a much harder threat in the second leg, but so far so good. I think these guys are really good. They know what they're doing and they know what they're about. And again, it's just a case of another David taking on Goliath.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah. And it's a low budget team. In fact, all the low budget team,
Very low budget team.
apart from Karabakh, even
Yeah.
Club Brugge, performed very well against Atletico. And I will allow Emmanuel just chime on that a bit. Brugge had 17 shots with 10 on target.
I don't know. Before Emmanuel comes in, like, what was wrong with Atletico Madrid? They cannot defend anymore. Atletico Madrid used to be a team that, the
Atletico
typical
will always
Mourinho team of them,
They
that
just have to find a way
they
to
just
score.
need one
They will always
goal
concede.
and you can't break them down. All of a sudden, like, I was surprised. I think they were 2 goals up or 1 goal up, 2 goals up, and then I think they were 2 goals up, equalized, then got the third goal, then considered again 3-3.
But if you look at the before Emmanuel goes, if you look at the midfield, Club Brugge was more confident than even the Atletico team. I was seeing a lot of 3 versus 2, so there were at least 3 defenders against 2 per time. You understand? Very interesting match. Emmanuel, give us your 2 cents.
Yeah, I mean, Club Brugge, to be fair to them, they've been, sort of mixed performances in Champions League. I think they beat Monaco, but they drew with Barcelona 3-3 as well, right? I think they lost to Atalanta. They lost to Arsenal, beat them. They lost to Bayern Munich. They lost to Arsenal. Lost to Atalanta, but they drew Barcelona. They beat Monaco. So they've just been, up and about in the Champions League. So to see them draw against Atletico, I wasn't really surprised, to be honest with you. Well, Atletico is they are, I won't say they're really top in this season, right? Because I know Arsenal beat them 4-0. They've not been doing well not so well in their league as well, right? And I know they're not top 3 in the Spanish league right now, which
I think
is
they
where
dropped to
they're not.
fourth. They dropped to
They dropped to fourth.
They're
Now
fourth, yeah.
Ademola has gone there. Now that Ademola has gone there.
Yeah, and he's
bit of fire.
He's trying. He's doing a bit well for them, but I think I still want to see more, from him, right? Yeah, Trevor, you're right. The Atletico led first with 2 goals. He scored at the 8th minute and the 49th minute.
Yeah.
And Club Brugge equalized 52nd and 60th minutes, and then there was an own goal. By Atletico scored an own goal, and then he became 3-2. Then Club Brugge now equalized at the 89th minute.
That's
So it was.
Sorry? That's the Zolis guy.
Zolis. Is this Zolis or Tolis?
Zolis. The silent.
Yeah. Silent, yeah. So I mean, so it was good to see, like Joshua said, it's good to see this I see clubs that a lot of people don't know about playing the big boys at this stage of the Champions League. It's quite fun watching those sort of games. I mean, but I still tip Atletico to go through to the play or to the round of 16. Like I think they'll be able to beat Club Brugge at home. Clearly, I think they'll be able to, because given the way they consider those goals, I see them being able to score 1 or 2 and hold forth until they win the game, next week. So, but let's see how that goes. But overall, quite a good and even game, almost equal, almost the same number of shots from both sides. So it was a good game to watch. I believe Atletico will go through.
Yeah. So talking about creating convenient separation, especially when you are at home, Club Brugge has confidently showed that they can score well at home. Bodo Glimt did the same thing as well. Unfortunately, Karabakh could not replicate that. But before we go to Crespo, just in the sense of creating separation, Galatasaray defeated the great Juventus 5-2. Galatasaray had 22 shots, 9 were on target. You will know that they were looking for more opportunities to create that separation, so that if they go to Juventus, they cannot concede 3 goals except there's something wrong. They were 61.8% on possession. Juventus just had 7 shots and just 3 of them were on target. Juventus looked a bit quiet. You understand? Galatasaray scored 4 in the second half alone. You understand? And Juventus committing more fouls showed that they were under pressure. They had 18 fouls and 1 red card under pressure at the end of the day. Crespo, what do you think about that separation?
Yeah, so
Galatasaray pushed.
So I think Galatasaray did the smart one in that game. Kudos to them. Playing a serial Champions League winner like Juventus, and not taking anything for granted. So the game started off in favor of Juventus because at some point I think it was 2-1, and
Yep.
Juventus got a red card, and immediately you could see how Osimhen, as a shout out to Osimhen, he kept pushing because and those are the kind of things you want in some players in your team. He understood beyond the game of that day that whatever advantage we can take today, let's grab it. It's the Champions League. These guys they're not going to lie down for us to walk through them in Italy. It's Juve we're talking about. So after they got the red card, I think about 5 minutes ago, they an equalizer, and Osimhen kept pushing. Even when they got the equalizer, Osimhen was seen to go pick the ball and was back like, guys, come on, let's go. And the other guys are still celebrating. And at the end of the game, they asked him like, what was that about? It was like, this is Juventus and this is Champions League. We have to score more goals. Right now, they are at home, so they are trying to take advantage of being at home. Going back to Juve, and they did the right thing, scoring 5 goals at the end of that game. I think it ended 5-2. Am I correct? 5-2. Yeah, it ended 5-2. 5-2. So that gives them a cushion to go to the old ladies, and hopefully the old lady will come out at them and they can counter to get some goals. And I think that was just a smart one, a tactical one from Osimhen and Galatasaray to take advantage of that red card. At this point, you're in the round of 16. You're in the playoffs. You mostly had no chance of going further in the game. So this is like a second chance that you've got. So if you have the opportunity, you have to grab it. And I think that's what Gala did. They grabbed the points. They grabbed the fact that they had an advantage in the play and quickly made use of it. So hopefully we'll see what the second leg looks like. And hopefully Osimhen can crown it off with a beautiful goal in Juventus.
Juventus, yeah. And he's used to playing there even from his days in
Napoli.
So kind of
hopefully he gets a chance.
He knows the land very well.
Yeah,
exactly. And he knows what they're going to face in Italy.
Yeah, and again in the game in Gala, he had if they showed his heat map, his pressing was, in fact, he pressed onto to get 3 of the goals in the 5 goals. His pressing led to 3 of the goals. So that shows he knows what he wants. He's trying to claim, even though I'm in Gala, I think he's selling himself. And I'm sure by the end of this season, I want to believe some big boys should really come out for Osimhen.
But does he want to? I know there's no emotions in football. The fans love him so much.
Of course.
They put a picture of his mother.
Yes. But you can't
on the crowd, they put a picture. Everybody was holding.
You can't take it away from him.
Like bricks.
Yeah, you can't take it away from him.
The fans love him.
Yeah, you can't take it away from him. He has given and he's giving, and he shows he will continue to give to Gala. But it gets to a point. I hope and I believe it will be a mutual agreement when the big team comes, and it will be a win-win for both Gala and Osimhen.
And him, exactly.
Yeah, like you said, there's no sentiment in football, right? Because fans can switch up over maybe just by the time he plays 5 or 6 bad games now, the praise and the love will reduce. That's in football, right? Unfortunately, that's the sad part, right? When the guys are doing so well for you, everybody loves them. They stand their name everywhere. You're happy with them, but once they start, they lose form for maybe for a long period of time. It becomes a problem, right? So. Let's see how it goes. I mean, I'm happy for Victor Osimhen. He's doing very well, and he's a really strong force in that team, right? He's doing really well for them.
If they qualify for round of 16, to be quite interesting. I want to see what the matchup will look like for them. Yeah. But it shows that they are ready for what is coming.
Yeah, they are really putting in work to really go far in the Champions League, which would give the Turkish league a lot of leverage, because even the other teams in the Europa League are just messing up. Fenerbahce losing to Nottingham Forest. I'm wondering, come on, guys. You have to, you have to, beyond even your team, you have to give your league, because right now I think the Turkish league is about 8th or 9th in Europe in terms of standing. So if you want to really put in, those are the times you show that this league is not a walk in the park. You need to really do more at that level. So kudos to Gala, and let's see what they are able to do in the second leg. And hopefully they get into the round of 16.
Round of 16, yeah. So before I go back to Joshua, I know Crespo you'll be interested in this. Real Madrid went to play in Benfica, and Jose Mourinho had already told them ahead that an injured Real Madrid team, it's not easy to face them again, because they're going to come at you with everything. And because he already knows a little bit about, some of these matchups. did control with about 58.3% on possession. I saw a steady tempo. Everything was quite steady. They produced 16 shots, 7 on target. Benfica was also able to produce 10 shots with 3 on target. But Vinicius' goal came from a transition attack. You know, you will see that guy, you know, still, you know, he was able to exploit Benfica's weakness. I saw a drama part where he went to report to the referee that somebody was saying racism
Racial,
words against
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
You know, it's different from the Vinicius we used to know. If not, he would have fought.
yeah,
He would
yeah,
have fought the guy, but now he knows what is at stake. So he will go and
yeah,
report now. I
yeah,
say, oh, I heard him say this. Then you can now take a decision.
yeah,
And now
yeah,
they're trying to do some investigation to check what word he said. I
yeah,
heard they were asking the guy, what did you say? He said nothing.
yeah.
So they'll probably do their investigation and check, and he'll probably, I don't think that guy will escape all the
Oh,
powerful, all the powerful things that will come at them.
yeah, so again, a sad one for football. A lovely game started, both teams trying to go at each other. Beautiful goal from Vini, then the drama. And again, that drama overshadowed the quality of that game because
Yeah.
Yep.
that goal was a beautiful goal from Vini. Vini
Really,
celebrated
yeah.
a little bit too much, but that does not justify being racially abused. And this is coming from a player, not even a fan. And what the player did that was very, very bad to the sight was he covered his mouth while he was
Yeah.
saying those words, but
Those
the other
words.
players
Yeah.
around him heard, and he kept denying it that he didn't say anything. So again, it's a function of his words against Vinny's words. But what took shine of the whole game was the comments of Jose after the game. They asked
Thank
him
you.
about the game, and he was fast to say it could be Vinny. Why is he always Vinny in all the stadiums? Why is he Vinny? But come on, you can't say that. If somebody is being racially abused, there is no justification whatsoever.
No justification,
No
yes.
justification
That's true.
whatsoever. Even if he danced too much or he did, that was no point of
No
any
reason for that.
reason
Yep.
for you to racially label him. And I felt Mourinho should have done better in saying, "Oh, if this was what happened, we'll have a look at this," and not make it about Vinny being the victim. You know,
Yes.
that was for me very wrong, and that took the shine of the beautiful game. But like you said, let's see what UEFA is going to do. I've
Come
been
up
doing a lot
with.
of research and findings on what UEFA has been doing on racism, which I think we should talk about also. And one of the things they are pushing for example, in Spain, when Vini was last abused, one of the guys who abused him got a jail term. So
Wow,
you have,
Jilted.
yeah, he got a jail term. Yeah, the guy that
Wow.
abused him, I think from Valencia, got a jail term. And right now, UEFA is really looking at criminalizing racial comments. So now the extension is if we can jail fans, we can jail players
Yeah.
also.
Jail players too, that's true.
You can't be a player and get involved in that kind of behavior. So it's going to boil down to see how UEFA, FIFA, and FAs will begin to handle the issue of racism because it's happened
Racism.
too many times. They've handled some cases with kid gloves, but with what has happened this time around, where there could be blur lines where people could cross mistakenly, but with this happening, we'll begin to ask more questions and probably find a better solution to resolving things like this. Because honestly, it's unfair that you have footballers, star players being treated this way. What about
Yeah.
somebody who is not a star player, somewhere in the fourth league, in the fifth league, somewhere in some countries that we don't know? What was the chance that somebody will fight for them? So a lot of people are pushing for criminalizing racial comments. I know in some countries it's a criminal offense, but we're trying
Yeah.
to see how FIFA can also or UEFA can add that and as much as possible stamp such out of football. But
Yeah.
again, that decolored the beautiful game we saw against Benfica or Real Madrid.
Yeah. Joshua wanted to say something. Emmanuel, we can't really see your face.
Yeah.
Joshua, give us your 3 cents. You wanted
Yeah,
to give us-
yeah. I think Crespo really said everything.
Can you guys see me now?
Yeah. Cool.
It was a
Yeah.
very beautiful game up until that point. Even I think like Benfica even like started the game really well, started the game faster, got out of the blocks faster, and Real Madrid were like holding on for their lives at a point. But again, the game settled down, and again, like Crespo said, the Vini goal was a beautiful goal, beautiful caller. I mean, where I don't agree with Crespo is I don't think the celebration was too much. I
No.
think the
So
celebration
I'm
was
saying
just
in quotes, if you want to say he celebrated too much, it does not justify anything you do to him.
exactly.
So if you
Yeah.
can say you celebrated too much, well, that's okay by you, but
But it still
does that
doesn't
mean
justify. Yeah, I
no?
get you.
So Yeah.
So that was it. And again, like, and what even happened, like, it was even after, I think, and the
Yeah,
whole
it
thing
was
that
just, yeah.
happened. And like Crespo said, I think Vinny has experienced this a lot. And like you said before, I think there was one point where he kicked back. Maybe he's just had enough. But this time, like, he did the right thing and followed the protocol and reported to the referee. And the referee also followed protocol,
Protocol, yeah.
doing the sign
Excellent, yeah.
and did everything he could do. So it's a very shameful one. And like Crespo said, it's a societal issue too that unfortunately has come into football too, so football has to deal with it. And like I said, the stance has actually been a lot from UEFA. We're starting to jail fans. And I was also listening to a show on Talksport where that was also the conversation that
Oh, okay.
it's since a societal issue, like in society, this is a criminal offense. So like fans are jailed, like on the streets, they'll jail. So maybe should we then implement that also in football for players, where like Crespo said, players are also charged criminally, and if you are
Yeah.
proven to be guilty,
Found
like you
guilty, yeah.
actually
You
go
serve
for
them.
jail term. And what does that imply for the club also? Should the club also take a hit, like clubs? Could be financial, it could be points deduction, it could be anything really. Like, how does that seem? So maybe that might be where we'll go to for players. Because again, it's interesting to see how this will play out, because again, like Crespo said, is your word against mine, because he puts his shirt over his nose, and only him and God and Vinny that heard
Yeah.
really
Only him and
exactly
God.
really would really know what he says, because I don't think he put his shirt over his nose to say something nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Exactly. He wouldn't. He was saying
Yeah.
something nice. He wouldn't do that. He
Yeah.
said something to hurt him. Like, that's why he did
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah.
again, what did he say? How far? And we'll see how that is. And also, when they interviewed him, like, he put out a post after, the same guy. He's still a young guy. He just
Young
played
guy,
under
yeah.
20 for Argentina that they
Yeah.
lost last year. And he was like, in his post, he said he did not say what Vinny said, that Vinny must have misconstrued what he heard. Okay, so then what did you say?
What did you say? Tell us now.
It's like, say I did not call you Taiwo. You know, say, oh, I didn't call you Taiwo. You must have misheard what I said. But then, like, if you're accusing me of something and I know I didn't say it, I'll be the first to say, no, that's not. I didn't say Taiwo. That's not what I said. I said Tai. Like, you get, like, you're the one that didn't. But for him not to want to say what he said and just said you didn't hear, you heard the wrong thing. Okay, so what did you say that I heard the wrong thing? Like, the post, I don't know who advised it to me. It was just a very cowardly stuff.
Behavior,
so
yeah.
And then, like Crespo said, also Jose Mourinho, like, saying that was just terrible. Talking about how the greatest player in Benfica is a black person in Eusebio. Like, what does that have to do with anything?
Yeah.
Did you get address the issue, saying that if he's found, the club will deal with it and all of that, and not make it because it is the celebration that when you score a goal like that, you go back to your players. No, the incident did not happen because of this. It happened after, when they were about to pass, and he was with the player. It wasn't even from the fans, because he was celebrating to the fans, so it was not with the fans. And but again, it's left to see how they would, because I'm not sure how they'll be able to prove beyond reasonable doubts, because again, they can't read, because he covered his mouth, so it's gonna be he said, I said, but it'll be interesting to see how that happens. It's especially interesting to see how the second leg will play out, because how does that affect the game? How does that affect the tension? Would the guy play? Would he start? Would Benfica just take him out of the squad or not play him? You know, because again, the game is still finally balanced, right? It's just 1-0. Like, anything can still happen. So how would this impact the second leg? Would Madrid go like? But it's just a shame, and unfortunately, we still have to deal with this in society. But again, the truth, like, it will not completely leave our society. But again, we have to consequence people who do that. I mean, this is 2026, and to still have people say that to players, or even anyone really, to express that is terrible. And it's a shame that this is happening in the sport that we love. So hopefully, eventually, maybe we start to charge players or whoever does this to court. But
fines, fines.
Not fines. Make it criminal. Make it a criminal
players,
charge.
if another player did it,
make
like,
it a criminal
because I was listening
charge.
ex-players talking about, if it's the fans talking about it or being racist, like, you know that in a way you kind of expect, like, fans, I mean,
But they
but like
Yeah.
when it's your fellow
yeah,
players, you know the
Fellow players,
struggle. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
there are black players in Benfica,
yeah, in his team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
in his team, right? In the country where he plays. So for you to come from your fellow player, you know the struggle that will be good. So it feels like it hits them more when it comes to fellow players than
yeah,
maybe fans where, you know, I mean, fans are fun, but like,
yeah.
so I think that's why it's players have really come out to talk about it. Even ex-pros, ex-pundits, ex-players have come to talk about it. And I don't know if people remember the situation of Evra and Suarez back in the day
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
Premier
yeah.
League that year.
The
So
hatred was
how,
much. The hatred was really much.
yeah, and I mean he got an 8-match ban. That was years
Yeah.
ago, but imagine if it would be now, it's
No.
severe. It would even be severe. And Jamie Carragher was talking about how they also were wrong, of how as a club in Liverpool and the players, they stood by their player,
Mhm.
even though in hindsight now they know that he was wrong and what they did was
Well,
wrong. I remember the next game they all wore stand with Suarez shirts, like white
Really?
shirts. Well, yeah, like it was terrible, and the thing really got to
Yeah.
Evra, like, and everyone was like. And then after a couple of years later, when they are now pundits now, Evra came on Monday Night Show with Jamie Carragher, and they were both talking about the experience, and Carragher had to apologize for his role as one of the senior players in Liverpool who did all of those things. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
so again,
As far as to, this, man, it was a tough situation. I remember the way it played out that time.
Yeah.
Suarez was so stubborn about it.
yeah,
Was
the next day
stubborn
when
about
Liverpool Man U like that, they didn't shake each other. If you
it.
remember when he was
They
working
shake each
for
other.
Man U Liverpool.
Evra was really mad and livid. He
Yeah.
was really livid.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
it's worth it, right? I mean, you just can't do that to anybody, no matter who the person is. It's
Yeah.
not it's not fair. Me, I wouldn't even look at anymore if you try that with me, honestly, because it's just yeah, no, it's not right? It's not fair for someone to have to go through that, right?
Yeah,
You know.
so Crespo, this is surprising to me, and I know that it's going to be very interesting for you to hear. PSG Monaco was a very interesting game. PSG had 80.4% of the possession. From what I saw, they forced Monaco into deep defensive game. As in, Monaco could not really, they just forced them into deep defensive game. They could not do anything. PSG fired 30 shots. Monaco had 7. I call it total dominating, you understand, in the attacking flow. That game still ended 3-2. PSG was able to generate, just 3 goals, and Monaco scored 2 in a game where they had 80.4% in possession. Well, what do you think? It's a very funny game. 80.4% in possession.
Yeah, this is a case of familiarity bringing contempt. They've PSG has known Monaco and they felt they would just walk into the game and it would be Uhuru as usual. And I think in 20 minutes they were 2 goals down and like, whoa, guys, this is the Champions League. We can't just come here and have fun. So they woke up and they took the game back straight away.
Yeah.
After that, it was all PSG. And even to the point that they even took, they had to take Dembele out. I'm not sure if he was injured. Dembele was
Yeah, he
subbed
was
up from
injured.
Doué, and Doué came in 2 goals and ended up 3-2. Again, I might be wrong, but this goes to say the quality of the French league also.
Yeah.
PSG, they've always had their way, in my opinion. Some teams are trying, but it just shows that I hope and I believe they don't get complacent because of their weekend games that are not so strong, facing tough teams. So again, PSG, they just slept first 20 minutes, got back up and took Monaco to the cleaners. I'm sure on the return leg, they won't give Monaco that kind of chance, and
That
from the
chance
beginning, they will
anymore.
fire up.
Yeah. That's true. Emmanuel, what do you think about this game, this PSG's performance? Because it surprised everybody.
Yeah. I mean, when I was watching, then I was walking and then I was just checking the scores of the game. I saw when I saw the first goal, I was like, game has gone tired. They're already scoring PSG. What's going on today? This is going to be a plump out of goals or what? And then I saw 2-0. And I checked. It was our own brother flying Balogun. So I was quite happy for him to score those 2 goals. And then our second half, and I keep on and I saw 2-1, 2-2, 3-2. Was I surprised? Maybe not. I mean, PSG, when it comes to playing French teams, I mean, they do quite well with all the French teams, right? I didn't see them losing that game, to be honest. Even though when Monaco went up 2 goals at first, I was like, it was a surprise. That was a shock for me to see that. But seeing that you know 3-3-2, I wasn't quite surprised. But in the PSG, when it comes to Champions League, right, you don't pick from the start. You sort of pick much later. Because I remember even last season too.
Yeah, they came from the
After
playoffs.
beat them 2-0 at the Emirates.
They came from playoffs.
Around like the group stages, and then by the time they got to the round of 15, that's when they picked up. They started picking every single person, picked everybody easily. So PSG, are we about to see that happen again? Maybe yes, maybe not. Maybe time will tell. But it was a good game to watch, and kudos to PSG for coming back. Away from home. Winning in Champions League 3-2. It was quite a good result for them. So let's see where they. But I mean, I see them going through. I don't see Monaco coming back from this one, even though it's just a 1-goal margin. But I don't see Monaco coming back from what I saw on the game on that day. Right, I think PSG will go through. But let's see if they'll be able to go as far as they went and win the Champions League this time around.
Yeah.
It seems like Arsenal and Bayern Munich, in top form in the Champions League. Real Madrid picking up gradually. Man City is already picking up as well. So let's see how far PSG will go this year.
Yeah. I think before I just chime in on those last two matches, we are doing well with time. Joshua, I just wanted your view on this playoff changing that they're trying to vote in the English Football League. They're trying to expand championship playoff team to 6 teams. Did you hear about it?
Yeah, I heard about it. I mean, I first heard about it last year, and I'm like, it just doesn't make sense. I've not been a fan of even. I've not been a fan of the current playoff they have. I don't like it. Like, let the top 3 teams go. Like, why do they have to even play playoffs with second and third, fourth and fifth right now? So now increase it more. Of course, like I said, more money, more TV, you get more games.
Yeah.
Because even the playoff final is already one of the most expensive league games in history. Like that final is the winner of that final takes a lot of money.
A lot of money, really.
So I just feel it's, and for me, I'm always really careful about things like this because for me, it's more of an integrity stuff. I'm bringing the integrity of the game into disrepute in terms of if you increase it to 6 teams, that means out of top 10, that means apart from the first 2 goals automatically qualify from second to what? 8?
They have a chance.
So that means almost the person who finished second half of the table has a chance to qualify.
To be in the Prem.
And the points difference between whoever finishes 8th from that second could be 20 points.
20
so
points.
Are you saying that 20 points that the person who finished second, who finished with 20 points more than the person who finished 8th, all of a sudden it doesn't matter because again it's knockouts. The person who finished 8th can get to the final and get promoted. So what does that say about the league? Like, so that's just what I really don't like about it because again it's like there's really no point finishing second. I'll just wait to finish 8th and try my luck because me and the person who finished second are the same. We're going to be in the same pool, right? To go to the playoffs. So I really don't like that idea. I understand why they are pushing the idea again. Like
I said,
it's the nature of the beast,
all about
right?
money.
It's money.
It's all about money. But again, it just brings the
so I guess football is becoming show business at the end of the day.
Exactly.
Don't turn football to show business. It's not that you want to watch entertainment. Go and watch TV show. Go and watch.
That's the reality.
Even the World Club has been watered down.
It's show business. If you think about it right now, look at, for example, in England, all the competitions that this guy is playing every year. For those in the Premier League, if you're in Champions League, you play Champions League, Premier League, FA Cup, Carabao Cup. Then if there's not all these European competitions they go for, like the Euros, what the League called again, Nations League, all those things. So these guys don't rest. It's just all about the money, right? That's the way I see it, and that's the way it is. Because if you think about it, when back in the day, it used to be just World Cup we used to watch those days, and maybe Nations Cup, right, and maybe Premier League as well. But right now, you have so many things to watch. There's either one qualifier going on every four weeks for you to watch something. These guys keep on traveling all over the place, to play different games, and then they're burnt out. And why? It's just the money, man. It's just
exactly. For me, I don't even mind. Like, I understand the money part, but like this one of bringing integrity of the game into disrepute or into conversation is like saying the top 8 teams in the Premier League, or sorry, from 2nd to 8th in the Premier League will go to play playoff for who will finish Champions League. See how Chelsea, Man U, Liverpool, and Aston Villa are fighting for who will finish top 4. Imagine you extend that to who Fulham, who are 7th. Like, all of a sudden you lose that competitiveness. Like, there's really no point. I'll finish 8th and I'll be in the same pool.
And I'll still get a chance to fight.
And I'll still get a chance to fight. So you kind
I think it's almost like these playoffs now. Playoffs, because up to team 24. Going into round of 16, a lot of those teams would have gone home normally.
Exactly.
You understand? Exactly. But right now, they give the opportunity. That's why teams like Benfica they playing in the playoffs. So it's just more matches,
more games, more money for
all those things.
And again, maybe it's just a good story. A team like Benfica playing against Real Madrid in Champions League, or Benfica playing against the top 5 teams in the. Let's say Benfica beat Real Madrid away from home next week, and they go through. The story will be like Benfica has made it to the beat Real Madrid, to make the media. I mean, to go gaga everywhere in the world that they beat Real Madrid. So that it's quite a good story to sell that a small team is going that far, beating the big teams. You know, that kind of thing. So that's another way to look at it as well. But is it worth all the trouble?
I agree, but even the Champions League's format is quite different because you look at the balance in more money and giving smaller teams opportunities to compete. In the case of the championship, you are actually giving a team that is not good enough a chance to get into the Prem. And this is what happens. These guys get into the Prem and they get 9 points and they're out of the league.
They get battered everywhere.
You know, look at Wolves right now. They have just 9 points.
We started the league together. It's not like I played 10 games. I gave you head starts. We started with the 0 together. Why should I finish second? 20 points ahead of you. And we still then have to fight to qualify for the.
I think
it doesn't make sense.
Joshua's point really makes a lot of sense. They should not spoil the integrity or the quality of the game. Then you start seeing teams down tooling, resting their teams just for the playoffs. Nobody wants to win the games to qualify straight up because, okay, I think I need to rest my big boys for these playoffs. There I have a bigger chance of qualifying because whichever way I will remain in the championship. But if I rest them, I get a chance to go to the Prem. And when you get to the Prem, you lose every game. I think it will have a ripple effect on the Premier League because once the team gets to the Premier League and they can't even compete, you have someone like Wolves being on 9 points after 26 games. You know.
But even at that, right? Is it different from Champions League? I think the same thing. If you look at Champions League,
I see your face. We can't see your face. So.
Sorry, what's going on with my?
I can see his face. So.
That was your screen, no? That was your screen.
It's my screen. Okay. Apologies. Apologies.
Accepted. So like just like Champions League right now, if you say top 16 should go to the next round and avoid the playoffs, which teams will make it there? Do you understand? So it's the same sort of thing.
So don't forget the reference was from the previous format where you have group stages. You had like about 8 groups of 4 teams. That's 32 teams. There's always a second round. Always had the second round games. So this playoff I've seen is like the second round game. You understand? So the current UEFA Champions League style has not changed in terms of number of games. It has not changed in terms of what it has improved, like Joshua alluded to, was the fact that usually you will not see Bayern and Barca play in the group stage. The chances are very rare.
Yeah.
So in the group stage, there's a chance that they will face each other. And again, the beauty is you don't have the opportunity of coming back home to play Bayern at that point. So if I'm going to Barcelona, I'm not going there to go and get a draw. I want to beat Barcelona. Because they're not coming back to my place, then I can get a win. So the balance was increased competition, give a chance to the teams in the small European countries to be in the league pool. You know, usually if you have a team like Qarabag in a group, they might be with Barcelona, maybe Tottenham, 3 strong teams. There is almost no chance that they will get out of the group. But now Qarabag is going to play somebody like Qarabag. They will play a Frankfurt. They will play a Tottenham. They will play a big boy. You know, so it's balanced. So they have a chance to scale out. Unlike usually before, the big boys in a group, Barcelona can afford to draw the second in their team and beat every other person home and away, and they're in the second round. So again, the balance again. I feel if the FA can make sense, why they want to make championship 8th or 9th team be in the playoffs, we can hear it, we can listen to it if it makes a lot of sense. But from what I'm seeing, I'm 20 points ahead of you all season, and you have a chance to knock me out. It's not fair. Then why am I hustling to be the second in the league? You know, just because I have more game time after the season, and like you said, you burn out the players again. They come back the next season, they can't perform. The quality of the game drops. So again, I'm sure it will meet a lot of resistance.
Yeah, I think, I get your point, Crespo. I mean, if I look at the league table, the Champions League table right now, the teams that will be top 16 at the end of the day are teams that we all know will be there. Like, we expect those teams to be there, right? So does it make sense to have this playoff that they do have right now? Themselves again. I don't know.
Saying, like, for me, I don't. It doesn't even make sense to have this playoff that they do right now.
The current playoffs. No, the reason for the current playoff is
how would they give out that money that they want to give out?
Exactly.
The reason for
the
current playoff is, the English tier. The money is in the Prem. There is no money down. Low. So the essence of the playoffs was to showcase our best 4, so to speak, our best 6. So that we can generate funds for the teams. because the
That are
money
going.
goes. Yeah, the money goes because all through the season, how many people will watch Ipswich? Maybe Ipswich QPR. So
Charlton.
the initial. So again, that's why I said if they can sell it and it should make sense. Extending it
Yeah.
also is for money, but at the same time, I think you have to create a balance between making money and making the quality of the game watered down.
Yeah.
That's my position.
Find a good story.
Yeah, find a good story that yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
find a good
this
story
is-
to make it make
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I think we've been able to do some justice across the Champions League. I think the only two we were unable to touch was Leverkusen that had a good performance, and Dortmund
Yeah.
also demolition at
Atalanta.
Atalanta. Yeah, it was a very, very good one. But hopefully next week we're going to be able to talk about one interesting part. I'm sure that we'll be able to go into because we've done over an hour. A couple of former players are now beginning to come together and buy over teams. I saw a news where Sergio Ramos and a couple of other investors are trying to buy over Seville. And this is also happening because we are seeing a lot of players that own 40% of maybe their boyhood team and, a couple of things happening. And I feel that's good investment, especially with the fact that they're looking at sports as a very good,
Business.
good way of, retiring. Yeah, we'll get the opportunity.
Let's go and buy Man U now. Me and you can buy Man U together.
Make I even buy 1% of mine.
Well, just 1%. We don't need to buy too much.
I will change everybody's lives. Don't worry. So thank you very much. You guys know we always bring out filtered opinion, sharp analysis, and big love for the Premier League, Canadian Hoops and Eyes, and the NBA. Thank you very much, Crespo, Joshua, for staying with us. Have a wonderful weekend ahead and see you guys next week. God bless.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye,
Thank you.
guys.
Bye.